Get ready, Central Georgia.
This is Alex Habersham, publisher of the Macon, Middle Georgia Black Pages. I'm happy to inform the community, particularly business owners, that we're working on a new edition of the Macon, Middle Georgia Black Pages and Resource Guide.
Coming soon.
So call today. You need to be a part of this.
Your resource guide to identify Black-owned businesses throughout Central Georgia.
You either get your free listing and or your ad. There's an old expression that says, by their fruits ye shall know them. And it's particularly true when tree after tree grows and tree after tree yields good fruit. Well, I've got a young man that I'm interviewing today that probably didn't have much option as it relates to his fruits because it's in his DNA. Now, what I mean by that means his daddy was a preacher and his granddaddy was a preacher. So when you grow up in that kind of environment, I mean, I don't know what you can do about it because it's in your DNA and it's a part of you. And the young man to whom I referred today is none other than Reverend, I almost said Reverend Dr. Doc, but I ain't gonna say that yet. Reverend Carlos Kelly, who's the pastor, the senior pastor of Beulahland Baptist Church. And by their fruits, ye shall know them does not only refer to Pastor Kelly, it also refers to Beulahland because it has yielded, all kind of fruits of many colors and many sizes and many tastes, if you please, throughout this community for a long time. So I thought it would not be robbery if, in fact, and he's not old enough to remember this, but back in the day, President Roosevelt used to call it fireside chats. So we'll have a fireside, and that's how he talked to the country, because they didn't have all this media. Everybody would get close to the radio and have a fireside chat, but they were effective. So I want this to be effective. So I just wanted to have this conversation with Reverend Kelly to talk about many of the things that they are. Talk about himself a little bit first, and then talk about Beulahland and this 2 locations and all of the initiatives, including, what's going to go on this weekend with the back to school bash. But that's just a drop in the bucket. We'll talk about the revivals, the awesome Augusts and all that good stuff. So how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, and thank you again for the invitation to be a part of this program.
Yeah, thank you. Let's go back to the granddad and come on up to present day.
Yes,
Talk
sir.
a little bit about it.
Well, just to give you just a little background, I am a 3rd generation preacher and pastor. My grandfather, the late L.B. Kelly, actually pastored the church I pastored in Little Rock, Arkansas, in the New Hope Baptist Church. My father, the late Reverend Donnie Kelly, he also pastored New Hope Baptist Church, and I was a 3rd generation pastor of the New Hope Baptist Church. Now, I did not succeed my father. There was a pastor in between my father and I. As a matter of fact, my father never heard me preach. He died when I graduated high school and I went off to college. I accepted my call to preach actually at the age of 23, had moved back to Little Rock, and actually had only been preaching a year when the church called me to be the senior pastor. And so I was grateful, went into a little situation where the church had gone through a split, and started with little under 100 members, about 95 members, and the Lord blessed us to grow to nearly 3,000, and to 2 campuses, and just in 15 years I served there, and was a blessing prior to moving here to the Middle Georgia area. And so the legacy of my life is I come from a preaching family. My father came from a family of 17, and all but one son, I think like 7 or 8, were preachers. And
oh man,
that's in our DNA. I have cousins who are preachers, and So yeah, we are a family of preachers.
Yeah, that's an outstanding story. So how long have you been at Beulahland?
This year is year number 8. Been here 8 years.
Wow.
Hard to believe that.
Yeah, it is, man.
Yes, time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, yeah. So talk a little bit about Beulahland, as a church, and then let's talk a little bit about the thing that really is making a difference outside of the walls, some of the programs and initiatives and community involvement, that you've been a part of.
Well, Beulahland has a rich legacy of being one of the premier churches in Middle Georgia. And I follow behind some great pastors and the likes of Reverend Dr. E. Dewey Smith, as well as Dr. Maurice Watson. And so when I arrived to Beulahland Bible Church, it was already a very vibrant ministry, very thriving ministry. And so I didn't try to act like I was being their savior or anything like that. I realized it was already a very rich environment. And so my responsibility when I came in was really to learn the culture, to learn the community, and also to learn the people, and just to see what was it that God was really leading me to do in this season of leadership. What was my assignment as the pastor, leading the church forward? Because again, God had continued to take them higher and higher. And so what God really just led me and saw the need more so as a church was to be more outreach focused, that Beulahland was to become a church that had an even greater impact in the community around the church. And so you sometimes you have to be careful, because we can focus so much of what takes place inside the church that we forget our responsibility of being a church that's mission-minded and really serving the least of these outside of the church. And so over the course of these 8 years, God has blessed Beulahland to really have a heart for the community. And really that has become the hallmark of our ministry. That is the heartbeat of our church. It is that we worship, we love the word of God, we make disciples, but also our core value is to make sure that we are outward focused in reaching our community with the gospel, but also meeting the needs of our community.
Yeah, that's very, very outstanding. And I guess in a way it's related, because I think there are individuals outside of the church who can be brought into the church if in fact the church will go outside, because oftentimes people have the wrong conception of what church is about, what parishioners are about, what ministers are about, and things of that nature. As a matter of fact, I think you have had measurable success with attracting and bringing people into the church, a lot because of what you have done outside of the church. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, there's so many programs that we have really been able and afforded to actually to do, and ways we've been able to reach our community. And it's kind of hard to just put it all in a little nutshell, but let me just kind of give you the concept. We have this whole idea of Beulahland loves Middle Georgia. And love is not just a word you say, but it's an action word that is demonstrated, not just articulated. And so it is proven through what you do. And so we try to show our love to our community. And really, sometimes it's just the little things that makes all the difference in the world. It is realizing that sometimes people have basic needs that are not being met. I mean, you look at Jesus many times in scripture that sometime before he taught them, he fed them, because a person can't hear the gospel if if they're hungry. and so before you start trying to preach to people, you got to demonstrate love by ministering to their needs. And so that's what we tried to do. And so some of the things that we have done, of course, we've had a major success in feeding our community. We feed every Tuesday and Thursday. We give out food every Tuesday and Thursday from our food pantry, but also we do massive food distribution. Several hundred families are blessed with food. And this has been going on for years within our church. We have lines down the street. Newburgh Avenue is always backed up when we're distributing food. And so that's one thing we do. We also, we give out just sporadic, we have gas giveaways where we have taken over gas stations and have just given away free gas to the community. No questions asked, there's no catch. Just when you come, we just want to just show kindness, and we've been able to do that. We've had opportunities to do what is called laundry of love. We've taken over some laundromats and people just needing to wash their clothes. Hey, let us do that for you. I mean, we've had so many different outreach projects through our community. We've had job fairs at our church where we partnered with several entities that came and people were hired on the spot. And so just through partnerships. And then here's another thing we realize is that we don't have to do everything. There are already people who are doing great work in the community. And so we don't have to reinvent the wheel. And so what we've learned how to do is to come alongside those organizations who are doing great work and who've already started making impact and who have the fruit. And so what we've done, we've partnered. And we realize that we don't have to compete with one another, but we can actually partner with one another. And so there are organizations that we have partnered with by giving financial support, also volunteers and what have you. And so there's just so many ways in which our church have gone out of their way to reach the community. And what I love about Beulahland is that whenever I have asked and I have cast vision about whatever it is that we're doing, they've always stepped up and have always met the challenge and have gone above and beyond, actually. And they just enjoy volunteering and serving the community.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because one of the vacuums, in my opinion, in our community is the lack of participation and collaboration. And
Yes.
for Beulahland to be an example of that, I think speaks volumes as it relates to where we can go. You know, Macon is Central Georgia is an outstanding community.
It is.
And we on the horizon, on the peripheral of being one of the greatest communities in the world, but certainly in the country. But one of the components or the ingredients that we need is that collaboration, you know, working together, partnering, unselfishness. So how were you able to accomplish that? And the reason I'm asking you that is because I want that message to get to our community. You know, with all these resources and all this power and all this income and all this money, then if in fact we could generate the mindset to come together and pool resources and work together, then I mean, man, this community, particularly the African American community, can just grow by leaps and bounds.
I think you have to always, and this is something we do at Beulahland, that whatever we do, we always have to find the why. We don't do things just to do them. There's always purpose behind it. I think you have to be intentional with everything that you do. And when you get to the why, and for us, it's rooted in love, our love for God that is demonstrated toward in how we love one another. because we are commanded to love God with all our heart, mind, soul, and strength, but to also love our neighbor as ourselves. And so when you look at that, then it becomes where you choose to be kingdom-minded. And what I mean by kingdom-minded, our concern is not trying to make Beulahland be the biggest church or a bigger church. Our mindset is, how can we impact people's lives? How can we lead people to Christ? How can we change the trajectory in someone's life? What can we do? And when we realize it's bigger than us and it's really not about us, then what that does is we stop trying to carry the load alone and realize this is something that's going to require community, collaboration, partnerships. And so, because again, you know, that we have seasons throughout the year that we do major outreach projects, but primarily for us, our biggest season for us is around Easter. And for several years, we had this weekend where we called it to blitz the city. And what we mean by that, we would have somewhere in the neighborhood of about 45 different outreach projects taking place in one weekend. And we would mobilize 400 to 500 volunteers throughout Middle Georgia to execute it. That's a great thing. But then we realized it's too big for us. We can only, even with all of that, we're limited in what we can do. And so we need to partner with others in order to be able to expand our reach. So for instance, one of the organizations we partner with is Daybreak Day Shelter. We have a homeless issue here in Macon. And so by partnering with them, and my wife volunteers every Monday. She's there from 8 to about 12 every Monday. And we partner with them financially, but we also have members who go and volunteer to help, and they're in desperate need of help with the homeless community. We knew that's something we couldn't take on ourselves, but if we came alongside and saw they're doing good, let's help them out. We were able to, when we were in the middle of the pandemic and the COVID testing and those type of things, we knew that were needed, but we knew we couldn't do it ourselves. So we had partnerships and collaborations with other organizations and churches to make that happen. And the reality is, you cannot be caught up in who gets the credit. You can't be caught up in whose name is going to be actually pushed and put forward. It really has to be about the kingdom, and has to be about helping people.
That is so important, and that was one of the reasons, frankly, that I wanted to have a conversation with you, because I think that what you're doing and what the church is doing and your parishioners, you're setting a tone that I'm hopeful that will catch fire in the community and help to move this community forward. Is there anything that you would like some support from the community for? Is there anything that you're doing in any way that the community can offer and render more support to Beulahland and what you're doing?
You know, that's really kind of a challenging question, because I really believe it's more so about leadership. And I really do believe, it's just my honest, humble opinion, I really believe that the community at large is primed to get involved. I believe there is a greater need for leadership. Amen. To have some type of engagement and to be able to collaborate and to plan and to assess what the needs are within the city and how can we come together, regardless of organization, what have you, and strategize on how can we meet the needs and what can we do to move the needle in these particular areas. And in doing so, when we are intentional from leadership, I really believe the community will support. I believe the community will be motivated to move forward. But when there is a lack of leadership in regards and even vision of how, because here's the thing, and I want to say this, people don't always respond to a need, but oftentimes they respond to vision. And because we always see the need, but there'll be a need and no response. But when somebody step up and cast vision, people respond to meet the need. And I think there is a need for people, for visionaries to come forth and collaborate to address the issues that are plaguing our community. And I really do believe it will rally and galvanize the community to come forth. So I guess in answer to the question, it would be more so of how do we bring the leaders together to be able to have honest dialogue, but also how can we come together to be able to implement some type of plan of what have you, to pull our resources together to be able to address those issues.
Well, you can't begin to imagine how much I agree with you. But I'm not just gonna say I agree with you. I'm gonna get with you.
Okay.
And it may be 9 or 10 months down the road, or it might be 9 or 10 weeks down the road.
Okay.
And I think if we could engage in a conversation around that topic and have a vision as it relates to that, I sincerely believe that it can come to fruition. So maybe that's something we can think about,
okay,
talk about, and maybe devise a mechanism to implement and come up with that vision that will, and I hadn't thought about it, but you know, the community is ready.
Mm-hmm.
I started a mentoring program 25, 30 years ago, where I got 112 African-American males to serve as one-on-one mentors for 112 boys. And it's that vision that called those, I call them, they agree, yeah, man, we'll do it. And they each had a role model. Mm-hmm. They each had a mentee. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's something to be said about the vision that you mentioned. And I'm so intrigued.
I don't mean to preach, but I am a preacher. So, I mean, if you really look at the book of Nehemiah, the people saw that the walls were lying in ruins and never did anything. They knew there was a need. They saw it every day, that the walls were lying in ruins and somebody needed to build that wall. Nobody stepped up to do it until Nehemiah came forward, cast a vision. And once he cast a vision, the people came together, rose up, and started working to build the wall. All they needed was a vision. And I believe that's what I think the people, they see the need, they know, but sometimes they won't move until a vision is brought before them.
Yeah. Wow. That's powerful. Very much so. Well, I ain't gonna hold you too long, Lau. I just really appreciate, you know, what you're doing, what the community is doing on both campuses. You know, I've been, you know, really, really a part of it. And I'm offering, you know, my support in a way that I can. I got family over there, and I'm serious about us getting together and maybe just have a conversation. Just have a conversation about, you know, that vision and the leadership component that you mentioned. And I will be calling you. I will be calling Miss Bernice to set up an appointment with you so we can have that discussion.
I look forward to it.
Yes, sir. You got 1 minute parting, a 1 minute parting statement. Anything you want to say now?
Well, listen, we have a whole host of things coming up in the month of August. And so we have our Awesome August that's taking place starting this coming Wednesday. We have the lineup of preachers, Dr. William H. Curtis. We have Dr. Claiborne Lee. We have Dr. Arthur Jackson, but also Dr. Maurice Watson, who is coming back to making his way to preaching. So it's going to be an awesome time. We have our back to school bash taking place this Saturday, dental screenings, health screenings, school supplies, military representatives, career force representative, and we're going to have people giving seminars on financial aid. And so it's just a host of things that we're offering, and just for the community. It's free for everybody.
Congratulations, and thanks for all you do. This is a call to action. I'm your host, Alex Habersham. Having interviewed, I almost said Doc again, Doc, Reverend Carlos Kelly, pastor of Beulahland Bible Church. Thank you, man. Keep up the good work, and we'll get together soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, sir. Have a great day.
www.makingblackpages.com.
Get ready, Central Georgia.
The 2023-2024 edition
The Macon Middle Georgia Black Pages.
is coming soon. Check your listing. Visit
MaconBlackPages.com.
to check the status of your listing. If it needs to be updated or removed, please contact us. List your business.
We give all African American businesses a free listing.
Visit our website to submit your free business listing so that it will be listed in the directory
For the new
2023-2024 edition. Advertise your business in the Black Pages.
you cannot afford not to advertise.
So check your listing, list your business, and advertise with us.
Give us a call at 478-464-0074.
Stop by 590 DT Walton Senior Way in Macon.
Or you can go to our website, MaconBlackPages.com.
The 2023-2024 edition is coming soon.